Ever go to IKEA with your wife and kids? It's always a fun experience, right? They have good meatballs, decent furniture, everything looks great, looks assembled. So I went and took my wife and kids to IKEA, and she looked at this couch and she's like, you know what? I think we need a new couch. And my gripe with IKEA is it's a problem to install every single time, right? So like there's issues with screws, and there's issues with, like, how tight you have to screw it. It's a whole process, right? So I leaned over to my wife and I said, if you knew and had to install these things, you would not want to buy anything IKEA. But then I realized that's not really a product problem. It's more of an installation and sort of last mile problem, I guess you can call it. That's when I had a light bulb moment, and I figured, well, why don't we see if IKEA has some kind of an AI product that helps people install their furniture? And it didn't. So, but they have it's like a wealth of knowledge, IKEA. So I just made one instead, right? So it was a kind of like a weird proof of concept for Bonito itself. And the best part is I have my own harness, right? So as a software developer, a lot of us, we write our own harnesses, and we don't fully use OpenClaw, or we do, but we have our own version, whichever kind of one works for us. We optimize it, things like that, since it's open source. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't I do this like how everybody else would, right? So I just gave Claude Code access to Bonito through the APIs and stuff like that. So I pretended to be like a Bonito customer. And then I said, all right, this is my product. This is my sort of detailed specs that I want to do. Go. Took me about 30 minutes, but I got it going. Let me show you what I got. It's always funny when you go to IKEA and you open up the installation manual and you see this guy, and he's looking back at you all condescending, like, bro, this isn't that hard to install, come on. But in reality, this guy is very condescending, and it actually isn't that hard to install, but it's very complicated in a sense where you have to make sure everything's correct and tight. But once you do that, it's actually a pretty solid piece of furniture. Personally, I think IKEA put this guy here on purpose just to tell us that it's not that difficult. Stop complaining, get over it. But hey, maybe with this product, which is called ohmykea.ai, things will be easier. You guys let me know. Feel free to use it. It's completely free. This build has currently around 8 agents that process everything, including images as well as 3D diagrams and things like that, for it to help you install through this kind of nice, intuitive UI that I put up. But yeah, so here it is. This is MyKea. So it's a free site, guys. Feel free to check it out. It's got a bunch of popular products that people buy, and it's kind of loaded, and of course it's powered by Bonito, so you can go to Bonito directly if you want to. On the public page, there's assembly guides. For example, if you want to do the shelf unit for Kallax, there's some common challenges. There's some things that you might need, for example, before you start all this stuff. The pièce de résistance really is the chat feature, right? So you go over here. Once you log in and create an account, you're basically, you have all of your products here. This is fully synced and fully, the agents basically go and review all of these documents as well as the product info, and kind of give you a good gist as to how to explain it, especially, for example, with angles and pieces and stuff like that. So for instance, if you want to install, I don't know, let's say you want to do the Alex, right? It'll go to the Alex, it'll give you the guide over here on the right side, and it'll give you some steps over here on the left, and you can follow along. So say you're on step 2, so you can say, go to step 2. It'll take some time, kind of review it, and then it'll tell you, okay, so for step 2, this is what you need. It kind of gives you like a little bit of some kind of guidance, I guess, as you kind of install it. You can also continue on the steps over here as you go forward. This is the guy I'm talking about, by the way. My God, look at him. He's calling IKEA. He's like, oh, if you can't do it, call us, and we'll charge you almost exactly what that thing cost for you to fix it. So you don't need it. Just use a product like this, or use your own intuition to kind of fix it and assemble it yourself, right? But it gives you all the steps over here, and yeah, everything is chatbot based, so you can kind of follow along, keep your laptop beside you. This is mobile friendly as well, so you can keep your phone beside you and ask the chat some questions how to install this thing. So yeah, check it out, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, or kind of wherever you see my content. But this is the power of Bonito, right? So like, you don't see it here because you can't exactly tell from all this. This is just a front-facing bot. This is just a chat bot. This is where most people are. But really, the value of something like a Bonito, and pretty much one of the only things out there currently that are doing something like this, is that you can have completely autonomous agents working for you in the background. So the idea is all of these things, it looks simple, but in the back end, there's 8 agents that do processing of pictures, looking at the 3D diagrams, looking at the installation documents, looking at the warnings, looking at everything that basically collates and aggregates all of that information into this chat. So when you chat with it, it gives you something that's a simple response that has all of those things that are considered sort of key things to watch out for in the background. So this is the idea. This is, I mean, technically a mobile assistant for IKEA products. I mean, if you're from IKEA, feel free to reach out. Also, I added some fun touches here using Claude Code. For example, IKEA, I love their meatballs, so I added a little meatball background over here, so it leaves the gravy trail and stuff like that. But yeah, once you have something like a Bonito, you're not really worried about the AI piece. You're more worried about building, and that's really the focus here, right? So you want to be able to build without the idea of hiring a huge sort of software engineer team or something like that. I mean, you can do this all yourself, right? So the idea is you have something like an orchestrator, a major enterprise-grade orchestrator like Bonito, and then you just need some time and maybe some coffee, and then you're good to go. But yeah, I just wanted to build this up to show that this can be done. You can build something like this within, I don't know, I mean, this thing took me about half an hour, but then with some tweaks, I'd say about an hour and a half using Claude Code, right? So you don't need to get some kind of a big process or something like that, but if you have something like Bonito, you can just plug it in and go. So that's why I always say, you want to build with AI, build on Bonito. That's the way to go. All right, guys, catch y'all later. Peace.